Here at LSE, our work is built on a really simple but powerful idea that every single child has the right to learn. It's a fundamental right. But how do we actually turn that right into a reality for everyone, everywhere? Well, today, let's break down the challenge and, more importantly, the solutions that we know work. To really get a grip on the scale of this, we have to start with a number. And honestly, it's a staggering one: 272 million. That's how many children and young people around the world are currently out of school. It's a number so big, it's almost hard to wrap your head around, right? But behind every single digit is a child, a unique story, and a future just waiting to be unlocked. And the crisis doesn't just stop at the school gates. I mean, for millions of kids who are sitting in a classroom, there's this hidden challenge we call learning poverty. So what is that exactly? It means a child can reach the age of 10 and still not be able to read and understand a simple sentence. This affects a shocking 70% of children in low and middle income countries. They're in school, yes, but they aren't actually learning. A huge piece of this puzzle is a major bottleneck in the system. We are losing teachers, and we're losing them fast. I mean, just look at this chart. The rate at which teachers are leaving the profession basically doubled in just 7 years. Teachers are the absolute heart of education, and that heart is under some serious strain. So what you end up with is this enormous gap between the promise we've made of education for all and the reality on the ground. It's a promise unfulfilled. And it's right inside that gap where the real work of finding scalable, effective solutions has to begin. But here's the thing, and this is what gives us so much hope. This is not some unsolvable mystery. Yeah, the problem is huge, we get that, but so many of the solutions are already out there. They've been tested, they've been proven, and we know they work. This crisis, it is absolutely solvable.
Okay, so let's walk through some of these powerful, evidence-backed ways we can actually transform education for millions of kids.
First up, let's talk about a model that is just incredibly good at reaching the kids who are most often left behind: community-based schools. The idea is simple, but it's genius. You bring the school directly to the community, you empower local people to become teachers, and you build a system that actually fits the local culture. And the results? Well, they speak for themselves. They are absolutely striking. When you look at things like pass rates or student attendance, these community schools don't just keep up with the government schools, they completely blow them out of the water. And here's the kicker. This model isn't just more effective, it's also way more efficient. We're talking about superior outcomes at just 1/3 of the cost. Now that is how you scale real, sustainable change. Okay, now for another game changer. This one is all about what happens inside the classroom. It's an approach called teaching at the right level. The idea is, instead of just teaching to some standardized curriculum for, say, 4th grade, you actually figure out where each kid is in their learning journey and you teach them from there. Simple, right? But so powerful. And this isn't just a nice theory. There is a clear, proven roadmap to take this to a national scale. You start with a small pilot, develop easy-to-use tools for teachers, you check the results, and then you build it into the national system. This exact model has been scaled up in India, where it now reaches 6 million children every single year. We know it works. And finally, let's hit one of the biggest, most direct barriers there is: cost. When a government makes the bold choice to get rid of school fees, the impact can be massive and immediate. In Kenya, for example, when they introduced free primary education, boom, over 1 million new students enrolled, almost overnight. Okay, so we know these powerful solutions exist. We know they work. So the question that naturally comes next is, what's our role in this? Where do you fit in to help make this a reality for every child? Well, the really good news is there are so many ways to get involved. We can kind of group them into 2 big buckets. The first is bringing your expertise. Maybe you're a teacher, a tech developer, or a researcher. The second is direct participation. Things like volunteering, advocating for better policies, or even joining a local school board. Seriously, everyone has a part to play. Of course, making all this happen at scale does take money. This number, $39 billion, is the estimated gap we need to fill each year to make this happen. And I know, it's a huge number, but closing that gap is the key to unlocking all of this incredible human potential. And this brings us to our final and I think most crucial point. It really gets to the heart of why this massive challenge is not just important, but actually winnable. After looking at all the evidence, a simple truth just shines through. We already have the knowledge to solve this crisis. The interventions we've talked about, they really truly work, and the pathways to scale them up are clear.
So it turns out the problem isn't a lack of solutions. It's not that we don't know what to do. The only thing left, the only real variable, is our collective will to act on what we know is possible. So the question I want to leave you with is this. Now that we know the way, what will we choose to do?